So, exercise 20 today. Silence, please. Cube. We will start with a cube, cuboid or cuboid, and we will deconstruct this basic shape. And basically, this method is nothing new that we will talk about today. Nothing new. We will go back to the beginning of the semester when we started with simple objects such as cubes, cuboids. But here we will focus a little bit of the deconstruction of it. So we will add elements to it or remove elements from it, okay? Parts from it. We will add or take away, okay? And this is used for sketching. So usually this is done like freehand to create new ideas fast. And as we know, during the semester I keep repeating that anything you design or anything you draw first starts with objects such as these. And then you will start plotting in the proportions, where to put what. Then you start building slowly, adding more and more details. And the last thing, if you have any curves, you will add. So this is the process that any drawing should go through, okay? So this method is really nothing new, so we will go back and apply what we learned. So we will start with basic cube, cuboid objects, then we will modify it slowly, adding, removing parts to end up with some kind of an object. Now, it doesn't have to be for this exercise, it doesn't have to be to look like something. It can be totally abstract. Now, these shapes here, they don't mean anything. But this is not the point. The point is to learn how to draw in this way. In the future, you will, of course, make the objects applying other factors as well. Okay? So they have to mean something, they have to be useful, and so on. Now, just the sketching technique. So we will go back to old methods, start with basic shapes, use the old way. So we will, for example, we learned how to divide, multiply the object. We learned how to basically split surfaces, find midpoints, quarters, thirds, and so on. So all of this should be applied in this technique, okay? So it's nothing new, just going back to the old stuff for a revision, and also the end results should be a little more complicated than you did at the beginning of the semester. So with more details and so on, and the quality better. So I already draw for you here these two objects. So this one, I started with a cuboid. This one, I started with a cube, and it's with red here. So this is here the starting object. All of the others were divided. I divided the surfaces, added slowly the other objects. Here again, we have this cube, the starting point, and then the other objects were slowly added. Now I will draw one or two extra, so you can see the process. So, what shall we do here? Okay, let's start with an object. So, we are drawing here in what? In two-point perspective. This is for two-point perspective because we start with edge. But I will not bother now to put horizon line, 2 points. You already know these things, okay? So this is just a fast drawing. So all these lines should go to the vanishing point. Let me make it a little bigger. So we start with an edge. All the lines go to the vanishing point. Who is talking? Let's say I start with this object. I don't know what I will draw. I'm just experimenting. Now, if you remember before, we learned the technique, how to split surfaces. I want to split this surface not into half or quarter, into 3 parts very quickly and to do it correct. So how did we used to do that? So we take the first edge, we divide into 3 equal parts. This also this was also in your exam, okay? So to remind ourselves, so we will take this to the vanishing point, and this line to the vanishing point. And then what did we used to do? From one of the corners we connect, all from this one, okay? We connect these. And then the points that they intersect, here is what we need. So the surface is divided into 3, okay? Now, because these are thirds, if we want to divide it into half, into quarters, the other technique that we used is more useful. Okay. Now what? You look at it and you decide what next to do. Okay, let me take these also to the vanishing point, for example. And then you can add or remove objects. For example, let's say, okay, this piece, I want to remove it now, okay, in the middle. So this is what I want. Let me use the blue color for the things that I want. So let's make this an opening, okay? For example, very simple. We will take from the corner to the vanishing point. Okay. So this is here an opening, open space, okay. I want to remove a piece from here, for example, or from here. Where shall we remove? Then we can, for example, split this surface here, only this one, into half. Okay. So this piece here, I want to remove it. Okay. So from here to the vanishing point, from here to the vanishing point. So this piece here, we want to remove. So how shall we remove it? So all this will go. Let me first draw. So this is here from the inside. So all of this we want to suddenly remove. Okay. So this will go from this point so what will end up is this here, okay? Now from this point also to the vanishing point we have to take it. Now from this point, which is inside, down, okay? And here. So this is what we will see. We will see this here. We will not see this. So now what did we do? We removed here a piece, we removed here a piece. If we want to do it symmetrical, we will do it from this side as well. So how to do this here, from this side? So diagonal from here, diagonal from here. Here is the midpoint. So this piece will go. So this line to the vanishing point, and from this corner to the vanishing point, but we will not see it because it's behind. And then, okay, we want to, for example, extend something up. I want to put something up, but I don't want to put all the surface up, half of it, okay? Or half of it or a quarter of it, let's say a quarter. So we will have to find the midpoint first. The midpoint, which is here. But I don't want this part. I want to divide again. So for example, one of the surfaces, I can divide here, this one only alone if I want to. So this is here what I want, this line. And you can again divide and again. Okay, now I don't want to extend from here, I want to extend from this point, for example. Now remember, with this method, because it's for sketching, we don't have what? We don't have measurements. No measurements. We are just dividing surfaces, looking at one thing compared to another, so proportions to be correct. So we are sketching basically, okay? We don't have measurements. If we select a design, I want this design, then we will take it, decide on the measurements, draw it again with the accurate methods that we studied, okay, and so on. So this is how design process works. So now we are just sketching. We don't know really what will come out of it. So this is here the back line. We don't need it. Now the height of this, just visually, do I want it like this? Do I want it like this? We don't know as a measurement. So it's basically what we did in the beginning of the semester. Okay, just here you need to try to come up with a little bit more interesting or, more complicated objects. So that's the difference. If you want to add something here to the front, for example, let's extend this part here. Or we can extend these two parts. Anything can work, really. Okay, let me extend this part now forward. So from this point and this point, I can. Okay, so let's go to the vanishing point, forwards, to the vanishing point, forwards, forwards. Okay. Now, what is this? I don't know. Again, we are just drawing. Okay. So we are going to the vanishing point again here. This one to the vanishing point. So we are drawing abstract, really, objects. They don't have specific meaning. Okay, but let's say I want to make now a curve somewhere, okay? Because we have everywhere straight lines, and we want to add somewhere some kind of a radius. Let's say, where shall we add the radius? If we want to add it here, for example, or here, or in this part. Now, what is the size of the radius? Proportionally, what you want to do. So if it's a small radius starting from here, ending here, okay, then I will define it. This point will go to the vanishing point, so we know where the other one will start. So here the corner will be removed, here the corner will be removed. So it will look something like this. Now, from this point, we will take to this side so that we have some balance, from here. And this will be the curve from this side. And so on. Here, for example, I want to add something bigger. So from here, the half point, I will stop. I will take this to the vanishing point. Then from here to here, I want to connect it. And from this point to this point, we're going to connect. So now I don't want this part. And we want just this part, for example. Okay? And of course, all of this will be hidden here. And so on, and so on. Adding, removing, putting, where you want to add some details, you split the surfaces, and so on, okay? Now, of course, not the first object you draw, this will be it, what you submit. You can draw several objects, see which ones are more acceptable, more nicer, and you can submit those. Now, we can keep drawing, other examples, or modifying this example here. For example, now this one here, we can continue. we can continue. For example, I don't like this to be like this. I can split the surface in half. So this is half here. This surface I will split again in half. This is the point. I will ask myself, is this what I want? Okay, if this is what I want, this goes to the vanishing point, this goes to the vanishing point. Here I can extend the surface. This goes to the vanishing point. So I added another object, okay? And then continue. But anything with curves, the last thing you do, okay? And so on. Now, so you start again with a simple cube, cuboid. The size doesn't matter. You can have sometimes a big one. Sometimes you can start with a small. Then if you see necessary, you can divide. What is the division of the cube method? So if we want to, for example, divide this cube, we take the midpoint, go to the vanishing point. The next one will be located here. The next one will be located here. So this is the division of the unit method that we started, that we studied at the beginning of the semester. So you can use this in combination with the division of the surfaces, the splitting of the surfaces into halves, into thirds, into this. And then all of these details that result, you can add, remove pieces, and basically you can end up with all kinds of different objects. And here is some examples from other students. I will put them there. You can see some examples here. Now please, you need to have 3 per page. So this is 1 page, 3 objects, okay? Look here again, 3 objects, okay? And we have any more here. 3 objects, okay, per sheet, 3 objects. So, each design is different, as you can see. Very important, I need to see the construction lines. So especially some of these papers, you can clearly see, all of them actually, how the cube or the cuboid started, and then all these construction lines, how the surfaces were split, from where these objects you put them out or remove or add, all of these things I need to see, okay, how you constructed the object. Because when you're sketching, just drawing ideas in the future and designing, this is basically what you will be doing. Now, you will imagine some kind of an object that you want to draw, but this is the method how you will start. You will never start with details. You always start, let's say if you want to draw in perspective, you start with cuboids, then start splitting, dividing, adding details, removing details, then adding if you have any curved surfaces. So it's the same way. So this is very important, okay? And the designs that you will end up with are so many shapes. From these shapes, later, if you're really designing, you can take a shape and a little bit modify it and actually make it working. So it can be a furniture, this. It can potentially become any of these objects. Okay, so it can be a starting point for a design. Now, let me put them there. And now, you need to do what for your homework? 2 Fabriano sheets. So 6 objects, 3 here, 3 here. Okay, 6 different designs that you will draw. And of course, each one of you will have a totally different designs, because the experiments you will do with the shapes will be different. Okay? Another sheet. Here, listen carefully. Excuse me. 1 sheet. You will use the isometric drawing of your model. Remember, you have the model and you made an isometric drawing 30-30 degree. You will take this Fabriano sheet with the drawing, and you will use tracing paper. So this is my Fabriano. On top I will put a tracing paper, okay, so we can see the drawing. The tracing paper. On the tracing paper you will what? Modify the cube. So basically you start with your model drawing, and on the tracing paper you will start modifying. Now what is the difference between this and this? Here you start with one cuboid or one cube. In this exercise here you have actually a drawing of a model, which means many cubes. So you have many cubes. Now these many cubes you will try to modify, change based on them, okay? So when you submit your tracing paper, I will put it on top of the isometric, and I want to see what you modified. So it's based on that drawing, but modifying the cube. So the result can be totally different. Again, you will add, remove, split surfaces, and so on, okay? Any questions about this? Anything not clear? Everybody know what a tracing paper is? Okay? These papers where you can see the drawing. Okay, so they're like see-through. Butter paper, another name. Okay, but the tracing is more better quality. Any questions? Ask me if something is not clear. Okay? So the only difficult part here, it's not difficult, but here you're dealing with many cubes and already a layout. So you have the drawing. Now I need to modify these cubes according to some logic. Okay? Yes?
The isometric, which exercise? What exercise?
The one that you finished already, the model
What
in
number?
isometric. The model in isometric, there is only one. Check it. Okay? The isometric is the one with the 30-30 degree, when you draw the entire model. Okay? So this one, use it as a base on which you will copy. Now, let me stop this video here.